All right, let's jump right into this explainer. If you've ever stared at a messy algebra problem and thought, man, there just has to be a cleaner, more organized way to write this, well, you are completely in the right place. Today, we're exploring the concept of mathematical order, specifically focusing on the standard form of linear equations. We're going to take equations that look a bit chaotic and transform them into a beautifully structured, perfectly balanced format.
What's super interesting here is how our source material actually grounds this whole math concept in philosophy. It brings up a quote from 1 Corinthians 14:40. Let all things be done decently and in order. It establishes the premise that God values order and design, which actually sets a pretty perfect foundation for organizing our math thinking today. It's a fascinating way to frame algebra, not just as random numbers scattered on a page, but as a dedicated pursuit of structured perfection. Here's our fast roadmap for today's explainer. We'll cover the beauty of order, the standard form blueprint, steps for equation conversion, some guided practice examples, your homework challenge, and finally, a look at education, morality, and peace. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The beauty of order. Organizing linear equations.
Section 2. Standard form blueprint. The formula.
Okay, so here is the absolute core of it all. ax plus by equals c. This right here is the standard form blueprint. Notice how this specific setup neatly organizes things. Both of your variables, x and y, are grouped together on the exact same side of the equal sign. Meanwhile, the constant, that's our c, sits cleanly all by itself on the right. It's tidy, it's balanced, and honestly, it's just ready for action.
Now, to keep that beautiful mathematical order intact, we absolutely have to follow 4 strict rules. First, a, b, and c, they must all be integers, meaning whole numbers. Second, a always has to be positive. Third, absolutely no fractions or decimals allowed, period. And fourth, like we just established, x and y stay on the same side. You really got to watch out for rules 2 and 3. Keeping a positive and banishing fractions, those are literally the mathematical villains where most folks end up tripping up.
Section 3. Steps for equation conversion, creating order out of chaos. So how do we actually do this? Well, here is a super simple 3-step process you're going to use every single time you need to turn a chaotic equation into standard form. Step 1, shuffle your x term over to the left side. Step 2, totally obliterate any fractions. You can think of fractions as pure math chaos, so just multiply every single term by a common denominator to wipe them out completely. And step 3, double-check that a value. If it happens to be negative, just multiply the whole equation by -1 to flip it. 3 simple steps and boom, perfect algebraic order.
Section 4. Guided practice examples. Seeing the steps in action. Let's actually put this to the test with our first example. We are starting with y equals 2x plus 5. Step 1. We subtract 2x from both sides to shove that x term to the left. Now we're looking at -2x plus y equals 5. But wait, our a value is -2. And remember rule number 2? A has to be positive. So, step 2, we defeat that negative sign by multiplying the entire equation by -1. That leaves us with a perfectly balanced 2x minus y equals -5. See how smoothly that works?
Moving right along to example 2, we've got y equals -1/2 x plus 4. This time, we immediately tackle the chaos of that fraction right out of the gate. We do that by multiplying everything by 2. Poof! The fraction is completely gone, giving us 2y equals -x plus 8. From there, we just add x to both sides to achieve that order, and our final beautifully clean equation is x plus 2y equals 8. And then we have example 3. 3x plus 2y equals 12. Consider this equation for a second. The x and y, already on the same side. A, b, and c, all integers. A is a +3, and there's not a fraction in sight. Honestly, sometimes you're going to run into equations that already perfectly obey the blueprint. They require 0 extra work. You just kind of smile, take the win, and move on.
Section 5. Your homework challenge. Independent practice.
All right, now it's your turn. Here are 5 equations for you to tackle. Go ahead and pause this explainer real quick to write them down. Make sure you apply those exact same 3 steps we just practiced together. Keep that mental checklist handy. Move the x term to the left, clear out the fractions, and definitely make sure a is positive. You've totally got this.
Section 6. Education, morality, and peace. The Heroesmartacademy philosophy.
Now, as we wrap up, our source material shifts gears and presents a really fascinating comparison: education without morality versus education with biblical morality. The philosophical question it poses is pretty direct. I mean, what's the actual point of being highly educated in math if a person lacks the moral compass to stop making choices that ultimately cause hurt? The source outlines this idea of the godly learner. It's basically someone who takes the discipline and structure they learn from things like algebra and actually applies it to making good moral choices in everyday life.
Building on that exact framework, the material points to a quote from Romans chapter 8, verses 6 and 7. The overarching message here is that, much like how standard form brings absolute clarity and predictability to mathematics, keeping your mind spiritually focused promises true peace of mind. It's a really elegant way to tie the structure of an equation right back to the structure of your own mind.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. We know standard form brings perfect order to our equations, but what are you doing today to bring spiritual order to your mind? Let that question sit with you as you dive into your homework. Remember that, according to our source material, true wisdom comes from intertwining your education with a strong moral foundation. Thanks so much for joining me to explore the elegant order of math, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.